Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha. So today, what I thought we would do is we would look at the table of contents of Satkriya Sargipika, and we would look to see what are the essential parts of a samskara, and then we could go through those parts and we could look at how those parts are dealt with in Satkriya Sargipika, and we could suggest for those persons who are learning how to perform samskaras, we could suggest to them an easy way to do each step so that they can start performing samskaras immediately with the basic steps, and then they can after some time they can learn more complex ways to do each step. And this is because normally today we have very little time to perform ceremonies. We live in an age of instant gratification, instant communication, where people are constantly looking at their phones, constantly looking at their computer screens, constantly looking at their televisions. And if something, if there's some disturbance, they immediately change the channel. They immediately go to another. Website, and they can't keep focus. So we have to always remember this, that people, I think there was some somebody did a survey, or they did some sort of a test sometime, and they wanted to know how long a sermon should be, how long a priest had to tell something to his congregation in a church, or how long a person could keep the attention of his audience. And basically, I think it's like 20 minutes. 20 minutes you can keep people's concentration. Now, you cannot do any sort of complex Vaishnava Hindu ritual in 20 minutes. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to try to cut it to about an hour. If an hour, or depending, if it's a very simple ceremony, maybe we can do it in even less than an hour. But we want to try to do it quickly. At the same time, we want to do it nicely. So if you want to do things nicely, the problem is, if you really want to do things nicely, you have to do them slowly. And this is, we see, if you see, for instance, in Japan, they have a ceremony called the tea ceremony. And it takes some time. If you ever see it, it's a very delicate, beautiful thing, but it takes some time. It's not, you don't just boil the water, pour it on the tea and drink the tea. There's everything has to be done in a certain way. And this is the same thing. People get much more out of rituals if they're done in a very meaningful way, because every part of the ritual has a meaning. And sometimes the problem is also that we use a lot of Sanskrit. We use a lot of different languages that people don't know what the meaning of the words are. So they're not understanding when we chant a sloka. They're not understanding, or a verse. They don't understand the meaning of the verse. So a lot of times, what I used to do, and there are many Western priests that do this, is even for the people in the Indian community, even though they might know an Indian language, we communicate them with in a local language, English or whatever it is, and we're going to tell them the meaning of the ceremony as we go through, and this helps them, and it gives them a lot more faith in the ceremony, because they understand the meaning of the ceremony instead of. Now, you have to gauge your audience with this. Some people don't want that. They just want the ceremony over and done with. Their idea is it has to be done, and they want to do it, and that's it, and get it done. But there are many people who want to know the deeper esoteric meaning, the significance of the ceremony. So you should also know the significance of the ceremony and be able to communicate that with people. People may stop you in the middle of a ceremony and say, well, why did you do that? Why are you doing that? Or they might ask you afterwards. You're sitting and taking prasadam, or you're just speaking with them afterwards, or even before. They're discussing, we want you to do our wedding. What different steps are there in the wedding? Why do we do this in the wedding? Why do we hold hands? Why do we Why do we walk 7 steps? What do the 7 steps mean? What does the fire mean? What does the pot mean? What is the meaning of the prayers that you chant? You know, and you should be able to explain all these things, because ritualism without meaning is very hollow. It's very empty. But ritualism has a lot of meaning, and as I said before, doctrine comes first to understand the meaning, the principles, and then afterwards we understand the methods. And actually, when we look at different priests and different sects of Vaishnavism or Hinduism, we see a lot. There are a lot of different details in the rituals, and there are even some slight details in the doctrines. But basically, they're all the same. There are many different ways to do a particular samskar, but the essence of the samskar is the same. The essence of annaprasana is to feed solid food to the child for the first time, to celebrate a milestone in the life of that child. We are celebrating and we are purifying the life of that person by doing this particular samskar. Samskar means a purification. So just remember, anytime you can unmute and ask a question, or you can write it in the chat and we'll discuss it. Okay, so let me share the PDF of Satkriya Deepika. Recently, a new version of Satkriya, a new edition was printed in Hindi, which I also downloaded from the internet recently. So we might look at that sometime. And I also I have my my original version here. This is a good enough version of Satkriya Deepika and Samskar Deepika. Okay, so as well as I have the Mayapur Gurukul edition, and I have the first edition as well. So I got all the editions, and I have also on disc I've got Bhaktivinoda Thakur's edition, which is the original printed edition, and then Bhaktisiddhanta's edition, 1905, I believe, or 1908, and 1935 edition. So I have all those things to look at. Just let me share the screen. Okay, so Satkriya Deepika. Okay, so the table of contents here. So just discussing the table of contents for a minute. After the publisher's note in the introduction and the foreword, we then have the first, let's go straight to the procedures, preliminary procedures. So we have a section on preliminary procedures. The first preliminary procedure will be Mangalacharanam. Now Mangalacharanam, and I'll just do this for the sake of the recording. Okay, so Mangalacharanam means auspicious prayers that are offered at the feet. Charana means feet, so Mangala means auspicious, so prayers that are offered. In the beginning of a work, there's usually Mangalacharanam. In the beginning of each ceremony here, there's Mangalacharanam. So there's certain preliminary procedures that we should know before doing any samskara. Okay, so Mangalacharanam here is a collection of different verses. We can look at them. So we'll go down and we'll look at them. What page is it on? 62, let's see. Oops, I think we must have gone past it. Okay, so we know also other Mangalacharanams. There are other Mangalacharanams. So we can substitute for this here we are, Mangalacharanam. Okay. So for instance, Mangalacharanam, one moment. Sorry. Let me just pause here. Okay, good. Okay, Mangalacharanam. Okay, so Mangalacharanam is these prayers that we chant. Now, the first thing you're going to do in any ceremony, in any ritual, is you're going to do Achamana. So I'm assuming everybody knows how to do Achamana in some way, right? Achamana in Gaudiya Vaishnavism is specific word with three names of the Lord: Keshavaya Namaha, Narayana Namaha, Madhavaya Namaha. And there are another 21 names of the Lord for touching different parts of the body and washing the hands. So we don't need to go through that. Normally, Achamana is gone through twice before you start any ritual. So you do Achamana, and then you do Achamana again, Dvira Achamya. And then Pranayama can be done. If you don't normally do Pranayama, don't know how to do Pranayama, then we can discuss that in some other format. Achamana Pranayama Sankalpa. Sankalpa means that you make a ritual vow and you say out loud what you're going to be performing. You mention all the different steps in the samskara and the main samskara itself, and say the reason for performing it and who is going to be part of that. And you can also, in a more complicated one, explain exactly where you are situated in terms of time and place in the material universe. So that is also another discussion. So Achamana Pranayama Sankalpa, these are the way you begin any ritual. After that, there would be this Mangalacharanam. Mangalacharanam means offering different auspicious prayers in the beginning. Now, here we can see there's this verse, Yam Brahma Vedanta Vido Vedanti. That seems to be a Quranic verse. Then you have a Vedic verse from Rig Veda, Om Tat Vishnu. You have some other Vedic verse from Krishna Upanishad. Then you have Purusha Shukta. So if you don't know Purusha Shukta, then you can't chant this. You have to learn Purusha Shukta. And after Purusha Shukta, you have, what do you have? After Purusha Shukta, you have Narayana Upanishad. So that's another Vedic verse with Vedic verses with Swaram, different. Then you have some other prayers. This Swasti No Govindahas prayer, and you have some other slokas. Sarutu Swasti No Krishnaha. Those of you who are familiar with the Arjuna Padadi or perhaps the Pancharatra Pradeep, I don't know. So since I don't know how much of this is still in the Pancharatra Pradeep, but anyway, these slokas a lot of these slokas are also there, and they're called Mangalashanti, Buddha Shuddhi, Vishnu Smaranam, like that. There's some other names for them in those books. So you may be familiar with some of these. And here we go. We keep going. There's more slokas, more verses, and we come up to Adivas. Okay, so my suggestion is, you can learn this, right? Can you learn it immediately, instantly? No. So it's going to take you some time to learn, especially the Vedic mantras, like Purusha Shukta and Narayana Upanishad. If you don't have time to do that, there is a common Mangalacharanam used in ISKCON, which starts out, Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam, and ends with Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and involves some prayers. And most people know that. So you can substitute that, because that's also a Mangalacharanam. It's also a Mangalacharanam, and it's an easier Mangalacharanam. If you want to start something and you don't even have time to chant that Mangalacharanam, you can chant some of those prayers. Meaning you could chant the prayers to your guru's pranam mantra and Hare Krishna mantra, whatever it is. If you don't even have time for that, if you want to cut it really short, as I started this session, Asmad Guru Namaha, Asmad Parama Guru Namaha, Asmad Sarva Guru Namaha. It's a good way to get the blessings of the Guru Parampara and to offer some prayers in the beginning of something. Okay, so Mangalacharanam can be done very simply. It can be done very simply. So all you have to do is, for instance, when Prabhupada instituted this idea of, he had a fire ceremony that he created because he didn't have the Satkriya Sarjapika with him at the time, although he did write a letter to some of his brothers in India and asked them to send him a copy. But he didn't have it, so he had to do some fire ceremonies for doing weddings and doing initiations. And what he would start with was simply a verse from Garuda Purana, Apavitra Pavitro Vasa Om Apavitra Pavitro Vasa Sarvavashtam Gatopiva Yasmarit Pundarikacham Sa Bhaya Abhyantara Suchihi. Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu. Actually, the Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu was the Achamana. So he would start out saying this verse, which means whether you're pure or impure, or whatever situation you're in, if you simply remember Pundarikaksha, the lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, you become pure within and without. You want to purify yourself externally, you want to purify yourself internally. If you just think of Krishna, you become pure. So this is a very good thing. So instead of the Mangala Charanam here, if we wanted to make it much simpler, we could just simply chant Apavitra Pavitro Va Savavashtam Gatopiva Yasmarit Pundarikaksham Sabaya Bhyantara Suchihi. And we could explain to people what that means. And we could chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare as well. And we could explain to people what that means. You will be purified inside and outside if the very beginning of any ceremony you remember, first of all, you remember what? You remember your Guru and you remember Lord Krishna. And you'll be purified within and without. So that covers Mangala Charanam. So there are many different ways of doing Mangala Charanam. So like I said, if you know the full Satkriya Sadhipika Mangala Charanam, yeah. If you know Purusharukta Narayana, Upanishad, and all these prayers, go ahead. If you have time also. Maybe you know these prayers, but maybe you don't have time. Maybe you only have an hour and you have to do a very complicated ceremony. I don't know anybody who will chant this full Mangala Charanam and they can still do a wedding within an hour and a half. Because there are so many other things to do. So
we are also dealing with the baby, so this is also another aspect.
That's also a very good point. A very good point. Yeah, you have to gauge your audience and the yajamanas, the sponsors and the people who are there surrounding you. You have to try to keep their attention. So like I said, 20 minutes is their attention span. So you have to somehow stretch that to an hour perhaps. And you know, if it's I've seen in some temples in India, like if you go to Guruvara temple in Kerala, Guruvara is a famous place where people take their babies to have this annaprasana in the temple. And they lay out a banana leaf and they put a full meal there. And the kid, it's just a little infant, you know, it's a small baby. And the people come along and they take a few grains of rice and give it to the baby. And the rest of the meal gets thrown out, of course, because nobody's going to eat it. But they put a whole meal out there. If the baby, I've never seen a baby of that age eat a whole meal, especially the meals that they have in South India with all the rice and rasam and sambar. But they just for the ceremony, they put a whole meal out there, you know, for the baby. So, and they do that ceremony very quickly. They just come here, sit down, they put the plate in front, they put all the food out like that, they say a few mantras, the baby gets a few grains, and that's it. It's over in a few minutes. So that's because, you know, they're doing a lot of these ceremonies. There's a lot of people coming to do these ceremonies, and sometimes they make it quicker. So yeah, you have to remember the baby is going to have even less attention span than the parents. So yeah, gauge everything according to your understanding of the time, place, and circumstance. So Mangala Charanam can be done very quickly. Okay, so what's the next thing? The next thing that is here. So we've got the Achaman Pranayam Sankalpa. We've got a very quick Mangala Charanam. Remembering the Guru, remembering Krishna is basically all you have to do. If the people are of devotees or they're of Indian origin, say they're Indian community, they expect perhaps something, some prayer to Ganesh or something like that in that. There's also some very quick prayers to Ganesh that you can do. Shuklambaradaram Vishnum Shashivanam Chaturpajam Prasannavaradam Dhyayat Sarvigno Pashante. We went through this when we were teaching Vishwaksena Puja. And remember, Vishwaksena Puja is also there. And Satkriya Sadhipika mentions that you should do Vishwaksena Puja or Ganesh Puja. No, Sakriya Sadhipika is against Ganesh Puja, but at least Vishwaksena Puja. So as well as all of this, there's supposed to be somewhere there's supposed to be a Vishwaksena Puja. All right, so that can be done with a quick prayer. And so then we have this idea in Sakriya Sadhipika of Adivasa. What's Adivasa? Adivasa means a preliminary ceremony. And this particular Adivasa is seems to be coming from Purohit Darpana, which is a book, a famous book in Bengal. And what the idea is to lend sanctity, to purify something by touching pure things or holy things or auspicious things to the yajamana, or to the people who are the sponsors of the ceremony. So there's a list of these things given. So first of all, you have to get all these things. You know, some Ganges clay, some Ganges mud, some sandalwood paste stone, rice, durva grass, flowers, fruits, yogurt, ghee, a silver swastika, which might even be illegal in some countries. Okay, sindoor, conch, kajal means eye makeup. What do they call it? Kajal is Carillium, eye makeup. Sindoor is a kumkum, you know, and kajal is that black eyeliner that the ladies use, made from when you burn camphor. If you take some camphor and you burn it, and you get that black, that's what the ladies put to line their eyes. So then rochana. Rochana is usually gorochana. It's a yellowish thing. You could buy it in Vrindavan. You could buy it. It looks like tilak, but it's yellow. It's not just beige color. It's tan. It's yellow. White mustard seeds, gold, silver, copper, a ghee lamp, a mirror, fragrant oil, turmeric. Turmeric usually means a piece of turmeric root, dried turmeric root, or it could be the powder, but you know, normally they get the turmeric root. Cloth, some auspicious cloth. Thread, chamara. Chamara means a yak's tail. Sandalwood paste. Okay, so up here they've got sandalwood paste, and down here they've also got another sandalwood paste, so there's probably some difference in those, which we don't know exactly right now, and a ghee lamp, which is used in arti. Okay, so all these things are usually combined together on a tray, and they're touched or offered to the sponsor with different Vedic mantras. So here they say here, first in this particular section, the Adivas section, first you should do Achamana, and as I said, Achamana is supposed to be done twice, then Mangalacharana, right? Then Swasti Vachana, which they give in another part of the book. I'm not sure if that is in the original. If that's in the original Sakriya Sadhipika, we have to look that up to see if that's actually there. Maybe it is. There's also a Swasti Vachana given in Hari Bhakti Vilas, which is not too Sanno Mitra Shambarunaha. I think Samno Mitra Shambarunaha Samno Bhavatyar Yama, that mantra. Samna Indro Brihaspatihi Samno Vishnu Rukramaha. I believe that's the mantra, and they end up with adding some names of Krishna to it in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Then the Sankalpa, which they go through in another appendix. Then the Gata Starpana. Yeah.
Wait, for the Swasti Vachanam, you're saying that they use that for Shanti Panchakam, but Swasti Vachanam they use Om Punantu Mam Deva Janaha Punantu Manasadhya.
Okay, the Mayapur Gurukul, they use that. Okay, that doesn't come from Hari Bhakti Vilas. That comes from Krishna Janma Abhishek. That comes from Krishna Janma Abhishek by Rupa Goswami. So, so just to be clear, Swasti Vachanam is used in the Goswami's literature in two places. It's used in Hari Bhakti Vilas. It's that mantra that I chanted before, right? And it's also used in Rupa Goswami's Krishna Janma Abhishek as the mantras that you were mentioning. So Swasti Vachana just means an auspicious auspicious statement, an auspicious prayer. So there are many different Swasti Vachanams, just like there's many different Mangala Charanams. Take your pick, do all of them, or do none of them, do some of them, do one of them, whatever you like, whatever you have time for, whatever you know. Sankalpa then comes after that, and then Gata Stapana. Gata Stapana, the word Gata can also be Kalasha, can also be Kumbha. In some cases, we can use the word Karaka. Karaka sometimes also means a spouted water pot. But in this case, it's usually a pot with a coconut with 5 leaves. Sometimes it's wrapped with threads and it has certain things inside it. Maybe a kurcha, which is a kusha grass wand made with a special Brahma Granthi knot in it. Anyway, that's explained there. The Gata Stapana we can do in another lesson. And there are different ways of doing that too. Also, anyway, but this is how you start according to them. This is how you start the Adivas ceremony. Then you get all these auspicious items on a tray, and you should offer them one by one, and then offer them all together, and then offer an arti. That's what they say. Okay, so then you have all these. You can say they also say this Adivas can be done at another time. So if the people want a more complex ceremony, you could do the Adivas at the day before, or the evening before, or the morning before doing this other ceremony. If people want a more complicated ceremony, so then they have all these Vedic mantras for offering each item. Okay, so now in Purohit Darpana, the place that this comes from, they have these Vedic mantras, and they have Yajurveda versions, they have Rigveda versions, and they have Samaveda versions. So I don't remember exactly, we could look it up, but I believe the ones that are being used here are the Samaveda versions, because again, we remember that Satkriya Sargapika is supposed to be a Samaveda Padati following Gobila Griha Sutra. Gobila Griha Sutra is a Samaveda Sutra, a Kalpa Sutra, or a ritual text of the Samaveda. Okay, so we have all these different Vedic mantras, which you don't know, nobody knows, hardly anybody knows, for offering all these things. So I'm sure some people know all these. If you don't know them and you want to do Adivasa, you can just get the items and you can touch them to people, and you can do the things without the mantras. Yeah? Or you can simply chant some other mantras, right, for auspiciousness while you're touching these things. Because the main point is to touch the items to the people. Of course, the chanting of the particular mantra with the particular item is nice. If you know it, if you don't know it, and you want to do it in a simplified way. Okay, so that's Adivasa. Personally, I would just leave the whole Adivasa out, and I don't know any people who, if they've only got a short time to do a ceremony, will even include the Adivasa. Then they say that you should perform this Vasudhara. Vasudhara, I've never seen anybody do this in practice, but they explain it in the end of the book, and it's the worship of Chedi Raj, who is some Mahabhagavata, and it involves putting some dots of ghee on a wall and chanting some mantras and doing some puja. Okay, so we'll leave that out. I don't know anybody who does that. Vasudeva Archanam is next. Okay, so Vasudeva Archanam. The worship of God, you should always worship God first. Normally the way we worship is we start with the Guru, then we worship Ganesha Vishwaksena to remove obstacles, and then we worship the Supreme Person. So Vasudeva means Krishna. So this is done in here. It's explained that they say you can establish a pot. Yeah. Rupa Goswami is telling me that that they do this. The Bengalis do this. It's very Bengali to do it like this. Yes, correct. Well, Gaudiya Vaishnavism, Gaudadesh is Bengal. So it's a characteristic of Bengali worship, yes. So they also use these same sort of methods when they're worshipping Durga or other devatas. So the pot worship, or the Gata Stapana, establishing the pot, and then they're saying to worship a Salagrama on top of the pot. If you don't have a Salagrama, obviously you can worship a deity. If you don't have a deity, you can make a temporary deity. What I mean by temporary deity, I mean a little cone of turmeric, or I mean a betel nut, a supari nut, or some other form, even a pot with a coconut, in which you can invoke the Lord and you can worship him in that form. So how do we worship the Lord? Everybody should know how to worship the Lord. If you don't know how to worship the Lord, you should learn. Maybe you don't know how to do it in a very quick way. Well, there are some very quick ways where you can say, you can invite Lord Krishna to come, and you can just pray Sarvopachara Pujam Samarpayami. I'm offering you all like a very quick way to worship Krishna would be, say, Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Sri Krishnaya Namaha Avahiyami Stapayami Sarvopachara Pujam Samarpayami. I'm offering you all and just offer some akshara or flowers or something like that. So you can build on from there. If you really want to do a full Shalagram Puja, you can. So the idea is to do some worship of God. If you don't even have a deity or anything like that, it's possible to just have a picture, or if you don't even have a picture, in the mind, you can just chant the prayers to worship God. You can just chant the prayers to worship God. All of these things can be done according to your situation and whatever paraphernalia you have, and the time and the place and the circumstance. Okay, so moving on, after Vasudeva Archanam, then I believe the next thing that they're going to talk about is Sattvika Vriddhi Shraddhana. Oops, what did we do? Sattvika. Now they starting on the. I don't know where they mentioned it. They should have probably mentioned Sattvika Vriddhi Shraddha, right? Yeah. Excuse me, I don't know. I don't know if it's mentioned here. Okay, anyway, then the next thing would be to just do the Sattvika. Sattvika Vriddhi Shraddha means, it's also called Nandi Shraddha. When it's in a regular system of samskaras, Nandi Shraddha means we take permission from the ancestors, from our ancestors, to do the ceremony. And it can be as easy as just giving some donation to a Brahmin. That's called Hiranya Shraddha. Hiranya Shraddha means giving some donation to a Brahmin. But there's also a system of Nandi Shraddha, and also the Sattvika Vriddhi Shraddha would be mentioning and offering worship to different members of the Guru Parampara, who are our spiritual ancestors. That in that way it becomes Sattvika. It's not just our material family members, ancestors that we're asking permission from, but we're asking permission from the Guru Parampara. So that can also be done. But in one sense, we can do that very simply by simply chanting the pranam mantras to our Guru when we start, or saying Asmad Guru Bhyo Namaha when we start. So then we come to the main parts of each ceremony. So these are preliminaries. So in this way, somebody can make very simple preliminaries, and then you have to decide if the samskara requires a fire ceremony, or if the samskara does not require a fire ceremony. If it requires a fire ceremony, then you have to decide when to start the fire ceremony. It may be that the samskara says you have to start the fire at a certain point in the samskara, And it may be that you have to come back to you have to go and do some other things and then come back to the fire, which means that you have to have enough firewood or you have to have somebody to tend the fire while you're doing something else so that the fire doesn't go out and you have to start it again. So just practical things you have to think of if you're going to add a fire. Adding a fire adds time also. So sometimes a fire is not necessary, and sometimes you can get the same result by just simply the anaprasana. Like I said, I've seen many anaprasanas in different places, in different temples in India, different places, different communities, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody do an anaprasana with a fire. But, you know, it's possible. It's possible to do the fire. They mentioned it here. Similarly, when we were talking about upakarma, the upakarma ceremony, once a year, the Brahmins change the Brahmin threads. That can be done also with a fire. There can be a fire, and you do certain oblations into the fire. And it can be added. Some people do it with the fire. Sometimes you'll see two different procedures, prayogas, in the book. They'll be with homa and without homa, with fire and without fire. So it's possible to do a lot of these things with fire and without fire. Okay, so
I think though also an important part, or at least I find like there's also social pressure within the community that if, you know, others are doing with fire, you know, if you did it without fire, then, you know, the yajamanas might feel like they were cheated somehow, you know, also because they're thinking, well, you know, everybody else did it with a fire. How come I don't get a fire?
well, okay, that's true. That's also true. But then the other thing you can do is you can print a list of prices, and you can have one price with fire, one price, a cheaper price, a quicker ceremony without fire. So I've seen that also happen. There are many temples in the United States and around the world. They have different lists of samskaras and suggested donations that have to be, you know, minimum donations that have to be given, and they list with fire, without fire, like that. And normally it'll be more for the fire, of course. You know, anybody who's done samskaras, they know it's more trouble and takes more time if you're going to add the fire like that. So okay, so maybe we can talk a little bit about fires. All right. So there's a whole system of setting up the sacrificial fire, of starting the sacrificial fire, of ending the sacrificial fire, and right in the middle, we have the main oblations that we're offering for any particular samskar. So the first part is called Agni Mukham. Here in Satkriya Sadhipika, it's called Kushandika, which means spreading kusha grass. Okay, literally means spreading kusha grass, because part of it involves spreading kusha grass. Even if you don't have kusha grass, it's still called Kushandika. And Agni Mukham means how to start the fire, Agni Prajwalya or Agni Mukham. And there are different methods of doing it. There are Vedic methods of doing it. There are tantric methods of doing it. When I say tantric, I mean pancharatric, because the type of tantra that we follow as Vaishnavas is pancharatric tantra. There are other forms of doing it. You know, the Shaiva and Shaktagamas and other people have other methods of doing Agni Mukham like that. Okay, so that's fine. So if we don't know the complicated method of setting up a fire ceremony and lighting a fire, we can just simply light the fire, right? The main thing is to get the fire lit. So what we do is we take some camphor, or we take a ghee wick or whatever it is, and we light it from the lamp, and we put the fire there. And normally when we do that, we say Om Bhurbhuva Suvaha Agni Pratistapya. I establish Agni. That's the simplest way to light a fire. Simplest way to light a fire. So, you know, set up your fire like that. It's got some camphor in the middle. Maybe take a small piece of camphor, light it from the standing lamp, and put it there. Or have the lady of the house go to the kitchen and bring from the sacred fire in the kitchen. Have her bring some fire, or have them go to the puja room in their house and light it from the lamp in the puja room, and then put the fire there. And there are different types of fires also, right? So that type of fire is called that's an old fire. It's called Vriddhi Agni. So some Brahmin has kept the fire going in his house for his whole life since marriage. And, every day, morning and evening, he's worshipping that fire. That's old fire. So that's called Vriddhagni. And then they have Yovana Agni. They have Yovana Agni, which is a young fire, and they have Balagni, which is baby fire. So these type of fires are made with the magnifying glass or by friction. You see sometimes by friction, they make the fire with the Arni Manta, which is a type of fire drill. It's a drill that they drill down into a piece of wood, and they make hot coals while they're chanting mantras, and they make that. So it's called a Balagni, new fire. So different types of fires like that. But in general, you used to ask, if you ask these big priests in India, how do you make the fire? And we just light it. We get a matchbox, or we make a lighter and light up a lamp and say a prayer to the lamp, and then we've got a standing lamp there, and then we take a piece of camphor or a ghee lamp or something, and we take that and place it in the middle of the fire. We have a fire. Sprinkle some water around it. We can start. So that's the simplest way, very simplest way. Now, if you want to learn all the other things, lay the kusha grass around Parstarnam, how to purify the ghee with the Triyat Purya, purify the ghee with the Brahma Granthi, how to establish Brahma there as a witness, how as the main priest of the sacrifice, how to establish the Pranita Patra and the Prokshani Patra, how to put the idma, the sticks that are boundaries in certain places. These are all done in the Vedic Agni Mukham. If you want to learn all those things, or if you want to learn the full Kushandika, the way it is in Satkriya Sadhipika, how to draw the lines in a certain way with kusha grass, or and how to establish the fire in that way. Or if you want to do it according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, say you're doing an initiation and you want to draw shrim in the middle, or if you have a yoni on the side of the kunda and you have to wash the yoni, and if you want to do all those things according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, you can do all those things, and you can learn to do all those things. But mostly people don't have time for a lot of those things when they're doing those things. So they, if you've got a big ceremony and you're going on for a few days, or if you have a lot of time, then you can do all those things. Or if you know them so that you can perform them very quickly. So that's
like I could do like in Shalagrama Puja, just draw Narasimha Yantra and write Shrom in the middle, something like this. This will be more tantric.
Shrom in the middle. Yeah, I'm sure Amara would like that. If you're doing a Narasimha Yagya or something like that, maybe you put a Shrom in the middle. Nice. I know when I was learning Hari Bhakti Vilas with Vishwambhara Goswami of Radharaman, so I was observing his Shalagram Puja, and what he does, or what he used to do, because he's no longer with us, he has a Shnana Patra, and in the Shnana Patra he will, with his finger, he'll draw a yantra in Chandan on the Shnana Patra, and in the middle of that he's going to put the Klim Bij. He's going to write in Devanagari. And by the way, Devanagari is the preferred script for doing these sort of things, but it doesn't matter. You could do it in another script, do it in Roman script, do it in Tamil script or Grantha script, whatever script you can do it, because it represents the sound. The sound vibration is what's actually important. And the script, but Devanagari script is preferred usually for making yantras. But in South India, they make yantras. Amar has shown me yantras in Grantha, He has this Narasimha Yantra, and it's in Grantha. And he asked me, okay, what does this mean? So I have to read the Grantha and tell him it's the same mantras, Sanskrit language, but it's just different characters. Like we write Sanskrit with Roman letters and Latin letters. So it's no big difference. So if you want to use other letters, use the letters that you know. Otherwise, learn how to write in Devanagari, that particular Bija mantra, or mantra, whatever you're doing. So you're writing a Bij mantra, and it's he used to write, so he'd write Klim, and I don't know if you know what Klim looks like, but Klim, the M in the Klim is just a dot. It's just a dot. So that represents the Guru. That represents the Guru. The K represents Krishna. The K part is Krishna. The L part is Radha. The I part is Chaitanya for him. And the M part is Guru. So then he takes the shalagram and puts it on the K, on the letter K in the Klim. But then when he does the worship, there's a dot there that represents the Guru. He'll do some worship to that part. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the L, and then Radha is the I, and Radha is the L, and Krishna is the K. So like that is his meditation, and that will all be inside of a Satkona, which is a pointed star, a 6-pointed star. And that will also be, if possible, that's inside of 8-petaled lotus, 8 petals of lotus flower, and if possible, that's inside a square which has 3 lines in it, which has gates open to it in the 4 directions, north, south, east, and west gates. That's a traditional way of making a mandala or a yantra. Mandala and yantra are a little bit different. Yantra is a deity, a 2-dimensional deity. There are other 2-dimensional deities called pratimas. Pratima means that if the form of a deity is embossed, like what we call a bas relief in French, a type of 2-dimensional deity, that if that's embossed in metal, that's called a pratima. Although the word pratima actually means deity, but anyway, that's usually call those things pratimas, and you can buy them. You can buy pratimas for different deities, and you can in metal, and you can put them inside the pots if you're worshipping a pot. In India, sometimes you go to puja stores and they say, "Oh, I want a Durga pratima," and they give you a little Durga, 2-dimensional Durga to put inside. But otherwise, a yantra is a deity, a pratima is a deity, whereas a mandala is normally not one deity, but a bunch of deities set in a particular arrangement, which is supposed to represent the universe or represent some part of the universe, like Kailash or Vaikuntha or something. Some part, some place, and in that place there are many deities. So, for instance, people say Vastu Yantra. Okay, there's a Vastu Yantra. There's also a Vastu Mandala. So Vastu is a son of Shiva. Shiva was fighting one demon, and he got sweat coming from his body when fighting, and that sweat turned into a particular personality. And that personality of Vastu, this story, by the way, is given in the Agni Purana and is quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilas. So when you hear people talk about Vastu, sometimes I hear the Mayapur people talking about Vastu, some sort of devotee. He's got some sort of, I don't know. They have some concept. They have some concept of that there's this Vaisnava Vastu and there's another type of Vastu, or I don't know. I don't really understand their concept. All I know is in Hari Bhakti Vilas, they quote from Agni Purana. If you go to Agni Purana and read the story, this is the story. So that Vastu, he was born, he was hungry. So he asks Shiva, who's his father, he says, "Now you created me, you're my father, feed me." And so Shiva says, "Okay, what do you want to eat?" what would you like to eat? And he said, I want to eat everything. I'll eat the whole universe. I'm so hungry. So then Shiva became worried. If this personality eats the whole universe, I mean, that's bad. That sounds like a bad thing. So what do? Okay, we have to satisfy him in some way. The other gods also heard about this, and they thought, wow, we have to stop this person from devouring the universe. So what do? So 45 gods, 45 of the devatas, jumped on him, right? They're like mugging him. They're like, they grabbed him. They jumped on him, and they squashed him down onto the earth. So whenever you see this Vastu, he looks like he's been squashed to the earth, right? You see the picture of Vastu, he looks like he's flat on the ground, right? Yeah, because 45 devatas are sitting on his back to keep him down so that he won't eat the universe. Okay, so still he said, still you have to feed me. Okay, maybe I can't eat the universe, you have to feed me. And he said, okay, whatever offerings are made to these 45 gods that are sitting on your back, you can have those offerings. Otherwise, if you don't worship him, he takes the food, he takes the result of your worship. That's the point. So that's why Vastu Puja is also preliminary to many pujas, is that you do Vastu Puja before you do other things, because you have to satisfy that person. Otherwise, he'll take the result of the other puja. Anyway, that's the idea. That's in the story in Agni Purana. That's quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilas. We don't give it a whole lot of credence because we don't do Vastu Puja, but we could do Vastu Puja. It's there in Hari Bhakti Vilas. It's possible to do it. But we don't really care. We depend upon Krishna to give us the fruit of the worship that we offer, and we don't really care. Vastu's he's not gonna get it. But that's the story, and that's the thing, and that's why they have what we call a Vastu Mandala. And in the Vastu Mandala, although you have the picture of the guy lying down, you also have different squares, and in each one of the squares, or in some squares, there is a place to invoke a different one of these 45 devatas. So all these 45 devatas are invoked in different parts. So in North India, usually, in South India, they make it much simpler, and they just do a fire ceremony. They just do a yajna for Vastu Homa. But in North India, they do the Vastu Puja, and they have this mandala, and they of different squares, 81 squares, 9 by 9, or 64 squares, 8 by 8, depending on whether it's a temple or whether it's a house, which we're doing the Vastu Puja for. So that's also described in Hari Bhakti Vilas. In Hari Bhakti Vilas, there's a pramana for this that says that the one 9 by 9, I forget which is which, but one's 9 by 9, one's 8 by 8, and one of them's for the temple and one of them's for the house. If we actually do a class on that, we'll go and freshen up on that, and we can explain exactly what it is. And then then you invoke all the different devatas, and you worship all the different devatas, and Vastu gets that food to eat. He gets that. Yep. So Rupa Swami has to leave. Okay. Well, let's come. Okay. So why did we talk about this? Because mandala is one thing, and a yantra is another thing. Yantra is a deity. Okay. So we can worship in a murti form that we call a bimba. We can worship in Agni, that's fire. We can worship in a pratima or a yantra. We can worship in a two-dimensional form, right? Or we can worship in a mandala, right? So when we do the prana pratishtha for a particular deity, when we're invoking a particular deity, we say, for instance, if it's a murti, we say, Bimbesmin, Sanidim Kuru, Bimbesmin. Please come and be in this form, or manifest through this form, accept worship through this form. Bimbesmin. And if you have a yantra, you'll say Yantresmin, Yantresmin, Sanidim Kuru. Come and be in the yantra, or manifest through the yantra, right? You could say Agnesmin, in this fire, Agnesmin, Sanidim Kuru. or you can say Patimesmin, or you could say Mandalesmin. Whatever form. And if you look in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, 27th chapter, Lord Krishna describes the 8 different forms that the deity can take. I mean, maybe even we could say Manasesmin, in our mind, in the mind. Please come and
Swami, please, what about water?
What about water? Jalesmin Sanidim
Yes.
Kuru. Jalesmin. We say
Okay.
you already know this one. You should know this one. Gange cha Yamuni chaiva Godavari Saraswati. Narmade Sindhu Kaveri. What's the last line? Jalesmin Sanidim Kuru. Jalesmin.
Okay. Thank you.
Jala means water. Very good question, though. Very good question. What about water? Yes, you can worship the Lord in water too. So you can say, Sri Krishnaya Namaha, Jalesmin Sanidim Kuru. Sri Krishna, I want to worship you. Please come and be in the water, and I'll worship you in the water. Or Sri Nasimhaya Namaha, Yantresmin Sanidim Kuru. Please come and inhabit this yantra, O Lord Narasimha. Right? Or Manasesmin Sanidim Kuru. I'm going to worship you in the mind. Or Pratimesmin, Kumbesmin, Kalashesmin. When we put the letter E at the end, it means in. So if I say Kalasha, it means a pot. Or Kumbha, it means a pot. If I say Kumbe, it means in the pot. If I say Mandale, it means in the mandala. Yeah? So that's just an ending in Sanskrit. It's a locative case. It means the location. What's the location? So it means in or on or at. So if I want to say in a pot or at a pot or on a pot, I say kumbe smin. Kumbe. I just say kumbe. In a pot. So in a deity is bimbe. Bimba means murti. You can say murte if you feel uncomfortable using the word bimbe. You can say murte. You know, like that. Okay, so that's a little bit about what were we up to. We were worshiping the pots. We were doing Vasudevachanam, and we were doing some other preliminaries, and then we were talking about the fire, starting the fire. Okay, so we started the fire, then we could do the main oblations into the fire, and then we can end the fire. How do we end the fire? With the Udicha Karma. In Sakriya Sardipika, that I think is very easy. That I think is very easy if you want to do the Vaisnava Homa in Sakriya Sardipika. That's very nice and very easy. So why don't we have a look at the Vaisnava Homa? I'm sure it's somewhere here. Let's see. I'm looking in the table of contents, and I'll look for find out where the Udicha Karma 189. 189. Tilakadarna. Krishna. That's not right. Okay, give me 1 second here. Here we go, Udicha Karma. The ending activities. I'll just share the screen. The ending activities of a 5 ceremony. Standard paraphernalia, we need Kushagras, Mahaprasadam, and certain things for the Purnahuti, which is the last oblation into the fire. They go through this is a Sankalpa to start with. And then Mahavyarati Homa, which we learned, I think, in the other day, we were talking about Mahavyarati Homa. Who thinks that they know Mahavyarati Homa? Who can chant a Mahavyarati Homa for me? Somebody gonna Kurchesmin, yes, Rangada, yes, good. I saw it in the chat now. Kurchesmin. In this kurcha, Vishwaksena, please be in this kurcha. Kurchesmin, very good. Kurchesmin, Sanidim, Guru, be present. So.
I can try to chant.
Okay.
Om Bhur Swaha Idam Vishnave Idam Namama. Om Bhuva Swaha Idam Achyuta Idam Namama. Om Suva Swaha Idam Narayana Idam Namama. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Idam Ananta Idam Namama.
Okay. And I noticed you said Suvaha, Swaha. Okay. But here it's said it's Swaha, but that's the North Indian way. That's the Shukla Yajurveda method, and Rig Veda also. But the Krishna Yajurveda method is Suvaha. Nice. That's nice. And again, the Pradivachana. If you don't have time to do the Pradivachana, just do the oblations. Om Bhur Swaha, Om Bhuva Swaha, Om Sva Swaha, Om Bhuva Swaha. Normally, when I'm with the Pancharatric Bhuttas that I go around with, I can show you some different fire ceremonies that I videoed, and normally they're just going to be going Om Bhur Swaha, Om Bhuva Swaha, Om Sva Swaha, Om Bhuva Swaha. It's just like that. It's just that quick and that easy. They don't even bother with the Prativachana, the last part. Okay. So now there's some mantra to be chanted, and then prior to the Homa. Okay, and then we should come up to Vaisnava Homa here somewhere. I think Vaisnava Homa. Here we are. Okay, that's very nice. Okay, so Vaisnava Homa. I think everybody who's using Sakriya Sardipika, or practically everybody in ISKCON, should learn this Vaisnava Homa. I think it's very nice because it mentions all the different Vaishnavas, all different forms of God, and also different Vaishnavas. It's really nice. So you notice here also that they didn't put the swaras on. They didn't put the swara on swaha. The Dirgha Swarita on swaha here either. They could probably do that. Okay, so who thinks that you want to hear me chant some of it, or you want to? Anybody else want to try and chant it? Who knows it? Of course, let me just say one thing before we do this. Prabhupada, when he made his original system of fire ceremony, what he did was he simply took the pranam mantras of the different gurus in the Guru Parampara, and then of Krishna and Radha and Lord Chaitanya, and he just added swaha to that to emulate this. This is what he was trying to emulate, the Vaishnava Homa, which is, I think, and also you see in the Sri Vaishnava system, a lot of times you'll see them do Dwarasanama Homa. Dwarasanama Homa. So, for instance, if you don't know Purusha Sukta and you want to offer to the Lord, you know 12 names of Vishnu. Every day you put tilak on, and you know those 12 names of Vishnu. Maybe you also know 12 names of Lakshmi if you're a Sri Vaishnava, because you put tilak on every day. So what they do is, if you don't want to do a long form, which is the Purusha Sukta, you can, or Purusha Sukta and Sri Sukta, let's say. To go through the Purusha Sukta and Sri Sukta takes some time. Do Purusha Sukta Homa, Sri Sukta Homa. So you can just do the 12 names of Vishnu. So you can do Om Keshavaya Swaha Keshavaya Namama, Narayanaya Swaha Narayanaya Namama, Madhavaya Swaha Madhavaya Namama, Govindaya Swaha Govindaya Namama, Vishnave Swaha Vishnave Namama, Madhusudanaya Swaha Madhusudanaya Namama, etc. And then you can do with Lakshmi also. Om Shriyaya Namaha Swaha Shriyaya Namama, Om Amadobhavaya Swaha Amadobhavaya Namama, Kamalaya Swaha Kamalaya Namama, Chandrasodaryaya Swaha Chandrasodaryaya Namama, Kamala, like that. Go on. So you could always make it simpler, like that. But here we have a really nice one. It's Vaishnava Homa, And it starts out from Vishvaksena and the 4 Kumaras and goes down. So, for instance, the Vaishnava Homa here is Om Vishvaksenaya Swaha. And the way they've written it is Idam Vishvaksenaya Namama. But, you know, if you want, you could do it without the Prativachana, and you could just do Om Vishvaksenaya Swaha, Om Sanakaya Swaha, Om Sanatanaya Swaha, Om Sanandanaya Swaha, Om Sanat Kumaraya Swaha, like that. Or I would do it with the Prativachana. When I do it, I usually do it with the Prativachana. So I'd be doing Om Vishvaksenaya Swaha, Vishvaksenaya Namama. I leave out the first Idam because that's not standard. So the way I would do it would be Om Vishvaksenaya Swaha, Vishvaksenaya Namama, Idan Namama. Remember that this M sounds like an N because it's next to an N. It's an Anashwara, and it becomes sounding like an N. So, Vishvaksenaya Swaha, Vishvaksenaya Namama. And if you want to go quickly, you leave out the Om. So you start off with Om Vishvaksenaya Swaha, Vishvaksenaya Namama, Sanakaya Swaha, Sanakaya Namama, Sanatanaya Swaha, Sanatanaya Namama, Sanandanaya Swaha, Sanandanaya Namama, Sanatkumaraya Swaha, Sanatakumaraya Namama, like that. Om Kavye Swaha, Kavye Dhanamama, Kavye Swaha, Kavye Dhanamama, Antrikshaya Swaha, Antrikshaya Namama, Prabhudaya Namaha, like that, you know? You just keep going. And especially if you leave out the Prativachana, you can probably do this quite quickly. Yeah? Right? Vishvaksenaya Swaha, Sanakaya Swaha, Sanandanaya Swaha, Sanatanaya Swaha, Sanandanaya Swaha, Sanatkumaraya Swaha, Kavye Swaha, Havye Swaha, Antrikshaya Swaha, Prabhudaya Swaha, Piplayanaya Swaha, Abhihotraya Swaha, Drumilaya Swaha, Chamasaya Swaha, Karavanjanaya Swaha, like that. Can be done very quickly, like that. If you want to take your time, also, even if you want to do it slower, if you leave out the Prativachana, it gives you more time to do it more slowly. If you want people, because if you're having, now, if you're just putting ghee in the fire yourself, then you can maybe go a little faster, you know. But if you're having other people also throw grains into the fire, right, which is not necessary, but, you know, sometimes people like to do that, and you want to engage people, there's nothing wrong with it. Then if you do it too quickly, people feel like, whoa, he's rushing this, you know, it's not good. So sometimes you want to do it more slowly. The people are more used to in ISKCON, they're more used to slow oblations, especially if they have to take part. Because maybe you are able to do a quick fire sacrifice. Maybe you're able to offer oblations quite quickly, but they're not able to follow that, right? So you have to slow it down for them if you want them to be part of the offering of oblations. So, like I say, in order to slow it down, leave out the Prativachana here. Leave out that part, and maybe even you can leave out the Om if you have to, and just concentrate on this word, which is that word's the word that's going to change each time. Swaha is going to be the same. Swaha is going to be the same. So, Vishvaksenaya Swaha, Sanakaya Swaha, Sanatanaya Swaha. And you can indicate you're offering ghee into the fire with your right hand on the shruva, which is a small spoon. You're not using the shruk unless you're doing charu homa and offering cooked rice at the same time, which you do sometimes like in Purusha Shukra homa. So you're not using your left hand. So you can indicate with your left hand when you're putting the ghee in with your right hand. You can indicate with your left hand to show people who are sitting around you when to put in the oblation. These are just some tips on practical tips, okay? So you can indicate to them, Vishvaksenaya Swaha, Swaha, just show them with your hand. And you can tell them, you can also teach them. You can say, just take a little bit of grains between 2 fingers or maximum between these 3 fingers. Just take a little bit of grain and throw it into the fire. And try not to get it on the priest. Try to get it on the fire. And although normally it says you should mix up or you should sprinkle. What they normally do is they sprinkle a little ghee on all the things that they put in the fire. In the original ISKCON fire ceremonies, what they do is they put a lot of ghee in with the rice and barley, which is what they first used to use. And they mix it up and they make it into sort of like a mixture. The ghee makes all the grains stick together. And that is the messiest thing. That is so messy. And I have been covered head to toe in this stuff many times because people do not have a good aim. Or maybe you've got 100 people throwing this stuff and there are 2 or 3 people back and they're trying to get into the fire. Instead, they're getting it on the priest. So my suggestion, practical tip, do not mix a whole lot of ghee into the grains, right? If you have a lot of people offering from a long way away into trying to get into the fire, first of all, you need a bigger fire so that they actually will get it in the fire. And second of all, you should instruct them to take only a small amount of grain. And third of all, the grain should not be mixed with a lot of this ghee and stuff because it makes a very bad mess. You're putting the ghee in, let them put the grains in. That's fine. You can sprinkle a little ghee on the big bowl of rice or whatever you're putting in the fire, or whatever grain you're putting in the fire. But don't, just a tip. Just a tip. And Devi Rishi is saying, and what I used to do because it takes a long time. I'm not sure exactly what that's about. But anyway, yeah, there's ways of making it shorter, ways of making it longer. But we want to also make it more convenient for people if the people are going to also offer oblations into the fire. So that's just another tip about fire ceremonies. So then we have this Vishvaksena who would like to try, say, let's take a harder part. Let's look at a harder part. We've got all these Ambarishaya Swaha, Vyasadevaya Swaha, Uddhavaya Swaha, Yudhisthiraya Swaha, Bhimaya Swaha, Nakulaya Swaha, Arjunaya Swaha, like this, right? Yeah. Right, then it gets maybe a little bit more difficult. Sri Krishna Chaitanyaya Swaha, Sri Nityanandaya Swaha, Sri Advaitaya Swaha. Now here's an interesting one. Pandita Gadadhara Ribhyaha, which means Gadadha Pandit and all the rest, beginning with Gadadha Pandit and the rest. So, we say Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhara, Srivasadi. So Gadadhara and the rest of the Pandits. And then down here we've got Srivas and the rest. So Pandita Gadadharadibhya Swaha. It's a little bit more difficult. And this Visarga can be also turned into an S. So it can be Pandita Gadadharadibhya Swaha. And this one is going to be Srivasadibhya Swaha. Also, the other devotees beginning with Srivas, right? And then we have some other ones. For instance, when you have the Goswamis and you have Raghunath Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta, Raghunath Das, right? Instead of saying, you could say Raghunath Dasaya, instead they say Dasa Raghunathaya. Instead of saying Raghunath Bhattaya, they say Bhatta Raghunathaya, right? Which is absolutely fine. That's the way they do it. And like I said, in Sanskrit, the word order doesn't really matter so much. And that's just another way of doing it. Okay, so then we've got some other endings. Instead of abhyaha, which is a plural ending, shiksha. See, here we're interesting. Okay, guru, these are all dative case endings, singular dative case endings. So, diksha gurave. Swaha. Gurave is singular. Unto the Diksha Guru, singular. There's one Guru, so he's Gurave. But Shiksha Gurubhyaha. It's not Shiksha Gurave, because you don't have one Shiksha Guru, you have many Shiksha Gurus. Right? Shiksha Gurubhyaha Swaha. Or Shiksha Gurubhyas Swaha. Yeah? Navadvip Damne, that just happens to be the ending of Dam, Damne, unto the Navadvip Dam, Yoga Pitaya. Again, Aya is the normal ending for an A ending noun, masculine A ending noun, or a neutral A ending noun. The dative singular is Aya. then we get ladies. So these are feminine words. Antarangyai, Ayai, Purnamasyai. So when you see this YAI, that's a feminine ending, right? Antarangaye swaha, Purnamasyai swaha, Padmayai swaha, Mahalakshmiyai swaha, Gangayai swaha, like that. Okay, so they're all feminine endings. Devahuti, Sita, Draupadi, Kunti, Rukmini, Satyabhama, blah, blah, blah. Many, right? This is Sridham, Sudam, Stoka Krishna. These are all masculine. Vasudamne, yes, okay. These are all masculine. Here's one. So we've got Krishna, Rama, Mini. That should mean Balarama, probably, that Rama. And Krishna, and here, Nama Sakibhyaha. There's Nama Sakibhyaha, and there's the Priya Nama Sakibhya. So the Sakis, the gopis, that's plural. And Sacharebhyaha, that's a different type of gopi. There are different types of gopis. Did you know that? Okay, there's Sakis, Sahelis, Sahacharis, and Manjaris. How's that? Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
Sakis, Sahelis, Sahacharis, and Manjaris.
Right. But I think, I think here are the Gopas, the Sakas.
Yeah, down here we have Gopas. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but up here we've got Shakis. These are Sakis. This is Nama Sakibhyaha, Priya Nama Sakibhyaha, right? And Sacharebhyaha, Sahacharis. Sahacharis are a type of gopi. And Sarva Gopalebhyaha is the Gopals, the cowherd boys.
Because they are also Priya Narma Sakas.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, it can be Priya Narma Sakas. Okay, so the question is, what is the plural of Saka? Okay, so this is a good question. Why don't I'm just going to pause right now for a second. I'm going to pause the recording. The thing is, they haven't indicated here, but what we found out by looking at the grammar, and I'm recording now again, is that here we're talking about gopis, the Namashakis and the Priya Namashakis, and here we're talking about male friends, the Sahacharas, not the Sahacharis, which are girlfriends. And here we're talking about, and here we're talking about the cowherd boyfriends, the Gopalas. Okay. It's good to know, what we're offering these oblations into the fire. We should know what we're offering, who we're offering to. So it's good that we analyze this. It's a pity that in this particular edition of Sakriya Sadhupika, they don't explain who the personalities are exactly that they're offering the oblations to in each case. But we've just learned something today. I learned something today by looking up the Sanskrit and looking at the case endings. So I learned the genders of the people involved here. Okay, so now after that oblation to all the Gopals, then we have certain members of the community here: Nanda, Upananda, Sunanda. Yeah, and we keep going. And then we have some more oblations to the Guru and to the Mahantas, which are the persons who are the heads of mutts are usually called Mahantas, Mahanta Gurubhyaha, the people who are the heads of different mutts. And I believe in Gaudiya Vaishnavism there are 64 Mahants. Sometimes when we go to a thing called a Nama Yagya, where they do, there's a special thing in Bengal they do where they chant Harinam for 3 days, and they have a certain way of starting it with Tulsi Puja and Bhagavatam class and worship of the 64 Mahants and the Pancha Tattva and everything, and then in different pots and things, and then at the end there are certain melodies to be chanted of the Harinam throughout the day and night, and a certain number of praharas. A prahara is 3 hours. So Asta praharas is a day and night, 24 hours. And so sometimes they'll go for 3 days. And then at the end, there'll be certain bhajans that they have to chant. Like the second last bhajan is a bhajan about Hare Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha is one at the end. And then there's also another one. I'm not sure whether it comes first, second last or last, but there's the one that is last, I believe, is about Nityananda holding a pot of yogurt on his head. And they have somebody dressed in blue with a clay pot of yogurt on his head, and he comes in the middle of the kirtan. At the end of the bhajan, they break the pot of yogurt on the ground, and then everybody pays obeisances and backs away, and that's how they end the Harinam Yagya. So I've seen a lot of these things. This is a Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. So anybody who's a Gaudiya Vaishnava, I suggest to you, go see some of these things sometimes. These are the traditional. So it just came to me because we're talking about Mahanta here, Mahantas, the 64 Mahants of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So there's a lot to be learned, and that's another Gaudiya Vaishnava ritual, the Harinam Yagya. It's done in a very elaborate way in Bengal.
Or just one technical question.
Sure.
We call some particular fire for doing this Vaishnava Homa?
I think it mentions in the beginning. It may say, I think they have in Sakriya Sar, they say to change the fire at the time of Udicha Karma, no? Prayasthita Homa, at the time of Udicha Karma. What are they saying?
Yes, they do.
Do they?
You know? Yeah, to Vidu Agni.
Ah, here it is. See, he should call Vidu. Vidu. Okay, so does everybody know how in Sakriya Sar they talk about how to change the name of the fire? Raghunath, you know.
I mean, just what somebody taught me. I mean, they just said, to just say Om Vidwagnaye Namaha, just and then offer a lamp and chant Om Tad Vishnu O Paramampa. I mean, that's just how I learned it. I don't know.
Okay. So in the Kushandika, we should go back to that then perhaps. In the Kushandika, it says in the initial Kusandika, which you do when as it's done as part of the Vivaha Samskar, which is the first Samskar, the wedding Samskar, which they do in Sakriya Sadhupika. They say Yojika Namagni Agacha Agni Tvam Yojika Namasi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that part or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't do it exactly like that, but yeah, I remember that's what it is.
You don't do it exactly like that. Okay. Let's go back and have a look. Where is here we go. Excuse me. Let's see. Is it before? It's first Kanya Sampradanam, right? Let's see. Yeah, it's after Gomoksha, Chidravartan. Yeah, it's after this. Here, Prasandika, okay. Agni Stamba, let's keep going. Okay. Here we go. Right, Agni Avahanam, right? So what you're doing is there's different Agnis, and at least according to Sakriya Sadhipika, according to this system according to this system, you're naming the Agni a specific thing. So here, the Agni is called Yojika. The word Yojika, maybe you've heard of the word yoga. Yoga means to join. Yukta. Yukta or yoga means to join. So the fire that we use to do a marriage is the fire of joining people together. So it's called Yojika Agni, right? So what we say here is Om Yojika Namagne Iha Agacha. Iha Agacha means kindly be present here. Yeah? Then we say Agne, O Agni, Twam, your Namasi, name is Yojika. And then they say Sri Vishnu's Teja Evayam. That's not so important, but it's O fire of Lord Vishnu, please come. That's fine. That's common. Okay, the fire is Vishnu. The fire is Krishna, or Krishna's tongue, like that, Krishna's mouth. But represents that anyway. So this is the important part here for naming the fire. How do we name the fire? We call the fire, a certain fire to come, and we establish the fire. So avahanam and stapanam of the fire. You could also say Yojika Namagne, Yojika Namagne, or Yojika Nama, Agni, Yojika Nama Agni, Avahyami, Stapayami. You could also say that. Yojika Namagni, Avahyami, Stapayami. So in that case, in the Udicha Karma, the last part of the ceremony, you have to say Vidu Namagne, Avahyami, Stapayami, right? Or you can say it like this, Om Vidu Namagne Ihagacha. Come here. Agne Tvam Vidu Namasi. Right? Does everyone understand that?
Could I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Is this not a standard practice in other types of ways of doing it? Or is this just a Satkriya Sardipika thing to name the fire? Or?
Well, the thing is, I haven't seen, I mean, different fires, like we always think of the fire as being Vishnu, but there are also in Vedic sacrifices, we use different fires. There's Ahavaniya, Dakshinagni, Garhapatya, right? Usually the Garhapatya is kept burning. The Garhapatya is the round fire. It's the round fire, which is in the west of the Yagya Mandapa, or the Yagya room, like Yagshala, let's say Yagshala. So Yagshala or Yagashala is a place where you do fires. And a Vedic Yagshala usually has at least 3 fires. The main fire in the house of the Grihasta will be the Garhapatya fire. He's a Grihasta, so he has a Garhapatya fire. The Garhapatya has to do with the Griha. It's the home fire. And that's kept in the round kunda, around standila, or fire altar. Okay? Now, every morning and every evening, that fire, that Vedic fire of Garhapatya, the person has to do what's called Agnihotra. He has to do Agnihotra, and he also has to do Upasana. Upasana is done in a particular fire, and Agnihotra is done in another fire. Or, there's Vedic Shrauta Agni, Smarta Agni, right? So normally for different ceremonies, they usually only make a distinction between Shrauta Agni. You won't ever probably have to do a Shrauta Agni ceremony. Smarta Agni is what we're talking about here. This is a type of Smarta Agni, this Yojika Nam Agni. So this is just being very specific and naming that particular type of Smarta Agni as the type that binds people, you know. But it's really just Smarta Agni. I mean, I don't think that there's a difference in this Agni. And there's a difference between Shrauta Agni and Smarta Agni, but this is Smarta Agni. And they're just naming, it's just another way of reminding ourselves of the purpose of this fire. So sometimes people do it and sometimes people don't do it. It depends upon the prayoga that you're using. This is a very detailed prayoga, so they do it. And again, in a Pancharatric ceremony, it probably wouldn't be there, because you're in Pancharatric ceremony, for instance, say you're doing an installation or something like that, you have a yagashala, you have 4 fires or more maybe. But let's say you just have the 4 basic fires. So you have the fire in the east is square, the fire in the south is bow-shaped or half-moon shaped. This fire in the fire in the west is round-shaped, and the fire in the north, east, south, west, north, east, south, west, north, right. In the north is either yoni-shaped or is triangular-shaped, right? So these Vedic fires would be called, starting in the east, would be called Ahavaniya or Avasatya. I'm sorry, either Avasatya or Ahavaniya, it's not sure. Dakshinagni is the crescent moon-shaped one. Garhapatya and Avasatya. Ahavaniya, Dakshinagni, Garhapatya, and Ahavaniya. No, Ahavaniya, Garhapatya, Dakshinagni, and Avasatya. Avasatya is the one in the north, right? Okay? From memory, anyway. If I've made a mistake, we can correct it later on. And then there might be a 5th one called Sabya. Okay? So these 5 are called Vedic fires, Shrautagnis. Okay? And they all start from the Garhapatya. From the Garhapatya, you first of all light the Garhapatya, and you have to do that with the Arni Manta. Make a balagni and put it in there, usually, or you bring it from the kitchen. And because it's a domestic fire, right? And then you light the other fires from that fire. But in Pancharatra, you're going to start, even if you start with the Garhapatya fire, you're going to go around and you're going to name the fires Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, starting from the east and going clockwise round. And that's because the Vyuha system in Pancharatra has Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. So when you're doing ablations, sometimes you do certain ablations in the Vasudeva Kunda, some in the Sankarshana Kunda, some in the Aniruddha Kunda, some in the Pradyumna Kunda, right? But you're also, each Kunda has its own mantra, has its own Mula mantra. So you have to offer into the Vasudeva Kunda, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Swaha, and you have to offer into the Sankarshana Kunda, you have to offer Om Namo Bhagavate Sankarshanaya, Swaha, and you have to offer in Pradyumnaya, Swaha, Om Namo Bhagavate Aniruddhaya, Swaha, in the Aniruddha Kunda, right? And there are certain other mantras you have to offer into each one. So there's a distinction in Pancharatra as much as the Vyuhas in the different fires, and maybe if you have more fires, there might be different forms also. When you're doing a specific tantric mantra, a tantric homa, like Sudarshana Homa, or Narasimha Homa, or Dhanvantari Homa, whatever it is, you might invoke that particular form of the Lord as that fire. But normally for samskaras, it's Smarta Agni. Smarta Agni is the Griha Agni. And so this is a book of samskaras, so they're being very detailed, and they're saying what type of Smarta Agni. It's the Yojika Agni, which we use in this part of the ceremony. And in that part of the ceremony, it's the Vidu, whatever Vidu means. We can look up what Vidu means. There's whatever the word Vidu actually means. Vidu has probably got a lot of meanings. Solitary, lonely, the moon, wind, and here we go, an expiatory oblation. Yeah. So Vidu means, I'll show you, I'll share that with you. Okay. So we look up the word Vidu. So we understood what yojika means. Yojika means bringing people together. But vidu, one of the words, one of the names is here. Over here it says, an expiatory oblation. That means a prayaschitta homa. So vidu is used in all prayaschitta homas. Vidu agni. So it's correct. The text is correct. When you get to the Udicha karma, you're talking about prayaschitta homas. So this Vaishnava homa is a type of prayaschitta homa. You're trying to get the blessings of all the Vaishnavas and all the different forms of God, and all of his acquaintances and associates and family members, and parts of his parivar, his entourage, retinue, to bless you, that if you committed any mistakes, by their blessing, everything is going to go away. So because of that, because it's an expiatory oblation or a prayaschitta homa, you use the fire and you name the fire as vidu. Okay? That's the reason. Okay, I'm glad we got that sorted out. Okay, so then who wants to, here we have this, at least this part here, right? So if I'm doing a wedding, I start off, the first thing I'm going to do is say, Om Yojika Nam Agni Ahagata, Agni Tvam Yojika Namasi. That, O Agni, O Yojika Agni, that type of smart Agni, you please come and be here. And O Agni, now that you're here, your name is, I name you as, right? Yojika. Accept the name Yojika or be Yojika. Join these people together. And then, similarly, you have to do it. They haven't mentioned it, you see. They haven't mentioned it. But if you know the prayoga, right, you know that you have to do this at that time. If it says call the fire vidu, it means you say Om Vidu Nam Agni Agacha Agni Tvam Vidu Namasi. They haven't written out that step for you. But they're assuming that you understand that you have to do that. Does everybody understand it? When they change fires, and if you change the name of the fire, you have to do this step. I mean, okay. It's all smart Agni, in my opinion. Okay, so it's a nicety. It's a detail. If you want to do it, you can do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. It's fine. But here, because they've gone to the trouble of naming the Yojika Agni, that is a paradigm. That's a paradigm for when you change the fire. So whoever told you, Raghunath, whoever told you to just say, what did they say to say? Om Vidu, Om, what do they say?
They taught me the same for the beginning, to just say Om Yojaka Agnaye Ihagacha Ihatishta Ihasani Dehi Ihasani Rudasva Ihasamukho Bhava. Okay, hang on. Yeah.
They taught you to say that, but that's not what's written here.
Yeah. No, they just said to do it like faster instead of doing it that way, to just skip that and just invoke the fire by saying it like that.
Okay. Well, people, I mean, if you know how to call a deity, that's like I said, like, if you just say, Viduragni or Yojika Agni Avahiyami Stapayami, or Yojikaya Namaha, Om Yojikaya Namaha, Om Yojika Agnaye Namaha, Avahiyami Stapayami. Same thing. That's the same thing. That's easier, isn't it? What I said, Om Yojika Agnaye Namaha, Avahiyami Stapayami.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what are you saying again? Say it again.
Om Yojaka Agnaye Ihagacha Ihatishta Ihasani Dehi Ihasani Rudasva Ihasamukho.
Okay, so let's go through that. Let's go through that bit by bit here. Om Yojika Yojikaya.
Yojaka Agnaye.
Yojika Agnaye.
Yeah.
Okay. Agnaye. Okay.
Yeah, and then the Ihagacha Ihatishta.
Om Yojika Agnaye what?
Om Yojaka Agnaye Namaha.
Namaha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iha gacha, iha tishta,
Uh-huh.
iha sanidehi.
Okay. I got it. All right. That's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Sure. No problem.
Okay. Yeah.
So then how would you do it for Vidu?
The same way. Om Viduaganaye Namaha.
Oh, okay. So just substitute Yojika for Vidu. Vidu for
Yes.
Yojika. Okay, good. Sounds good. All right. So the real point, what's the point that we should learn here? The point that we should learn here is that not everything is written out in this prayoga. This is not a prayoga, actually. This book is Sakriya Sarvipika, but it's not written in a step-by-step manner with all the steps written in there for you. For instance, this was also a problem when they made the first Ajna Paddhati. They didn't put it all step by step, one by one. For instance, here, like here we have, if we start the Udicca Karma, we start with a list of things, right? Preliminaries for the yajna. I mean, this is halfway through the explanation of the marriage, and you've got a list of things to get. Certainly, what you should do, if you're smart, is you take this complete list and put it all at the beginning, so that you get it all together before you even come to the ceremony, before people even come to the ceremony, right? So what's the point of having a? So it's okay. When I write prayogas, when I write procedures, I write them in a cookbook style. Does everybody understand what a cookbook style means? Cookbook style means first you get the ingredients, and then you go step by step by step until you come to the end, and you include all steps in the proper order. Whereas here we can see the way this book has been made. See, for instance, it says items needed, standard Yajna Paraphernalia, page 372. Why not just list all those things here? No, you have to go look on page 372 to that list over there, and then you have to come back to here. That's the problem that Jayatirtha's book, Jayatirtha's editing had with the first Ajna Paddhati. It said, now turn to this page and chant this prayer. Now turn back to this page and chant this prayer. No, the way I write prayogas is step by step by step by step. You never have to change and look something up. You just go step by step by step, and everything is included, no matter how repetitive it is. And that's the way you write a prayoga properly when you're first learning it. And ultimately, you don't need the book at all. You can throw it away. But until you learn it off by heart, you want to have it step by step by step. Especially when you're in the heat of the moment, people are doing things. Things are happening around you. You've got your sponsors. Like that. You don't want to guess where the book. Like I've seen people. I've done it myself when I've used these books that come out from the Mayapur Gurukul. Sometimes I'll put in page markers, and I'll put I'll take post-it notes and put them in the pages that I need, and I'll write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I say, okay, I have to go to the first page marker first, then I have to go to the second one, then I have to go to the third one, and it might be back that way. So that makes it a bit more difficult to do it that way. But it's better, in my opinion, when you're learning, to write the whole thing out in full about everything you're going to do. First of all, everything you need to bring for the ceremony, every ingredient, and then everything you have to do step by step by step by step. And what the other people have to do at their stages. Just do it step by step like that. That's how you learn. And you will not learn if you try to use these books, flipping it back and forth like that. You will never learn. Okay, so it's just a tip.
Shortly about Avahana Mudra. I'm not sure if we should touch the small finger or the ring finger.
Avahana Mudra.
Yeah.
Whoops, I can't see it. Avahayami. Oh, you're saying like this. Should the thumbs be touching? Okay, yeah. We have a separate discussion about mudras. We should have a separate, but easy enough. Avahana can just be like this, and Stapana can just be like that. So, you know, not, I mean, exactly which finger to touch is probably there, and we have to talk about it. But maybe we want to have it. Somebody else asked for a class about mudras, so maybe we'll do that too. And mudras may be different for Gaudiya Vaishnavas than they are for Sri Vaishnavas, and definitely different from Smartas sometimes. So sometimes, and also even within a sampradaya, like within some Sri Sampradaya, there might be two different ways of doing a particular mudra. In Pancharatra, the description of Dhenu mudra or Surabhi mudra in one samhita might be slightly different from in another one, or even for the mudras for nyasa and stuff, it might be slightly different. So again, for mudras, you have to follow a particular text. So if you're saying I'm doing this mudra, but according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, or this mudra according to Padma Samhita, or this mudra according to, they may be the same or they may not be. They may be slightly different. So mudras is a whole nother discussion, and we can do that for sure. Probably in the beginning. Normally, when Sri Vaishnavas are doing mudras, when most people are doing mudras, they're chanting a mantra along with the mudra. The mudra is a hand gesture to enhance the mantra, the chanting of the mantra, or to show that you're going to do something. You're just not showing mudras without mantras. But I know some people do that. They just like to show mudras without mantras. But I don't think it's correct. And the best way to learn mudras is by learning the mantras for them also. And that's the same thing with that's the way they teach in Gurukul. The way they teach in a Gurukul setting is they teach people to do everything, and they chant the directions for the thing along with it. Like when you're in a sacrifice, sometimes, or in a puja, you'll hear Brahmins chant Apa Ubas Grisya. And you think, wow, is that a prayer? And that's not a prayer. That's a direction. That's a direction to the priest. It means sprinkle water. Now sprinkle water. You know, all he's saying is to the priest, now sprinkle water. Right? But it sounds like a prayer. Apopasprasya. So that's the way they learn in Gurukuls, is they learn to chant along, you know. Just like the mudras in Sandhya Vandanam also, the people say, Sumukam, Chaiva, Sapi, whatever it is. You know, I don't do it, so. But Sukriya Yajurvedic people mostly do it. But the Krishna Yajurvedic people, some people, Krishna Yajurvedic people do it. But there's slokas to go along with it. The same thing in Hari Bhakti Vilas. There are slokas for the mudras, and as Raghunath was saying, there are mantras to chant with the different mudras. I think I gave out the Giri in the Giri trading book on Sampradaya. This one, Sampradaya Puja Vidi. Of Vrata Puja Vidi, it has the mudras for Avahanam and Stapanam. And when we did Vishvaksena Puja, did everybody see those videos on Vishvaksena Puja with Raman Bhatta? He was showing simple mudras.
Yeah, I saw it.
You saw it? Yeah, he was showing simple mudras in the beginning. And they're the mudras to the mantras that Raghunath was saying about for the fire. So you can do that too, because you're calling the Lord into the fire, just like we were talking about calling the Lord into a mandara or a yantra or a bimba or a kumbha or water, jala. Yeah. He's there. The Lord is there anyway. He's everywhere. It's what we're doing when we call him there is we're simply saying, oh Lord, I want to worship you through this medium. I'm worshiping you through the medium of water. I'm worshiping you through the medium of the yantra, through the medium of the bimba, through the medium of the kumbha. So he's there already. In the case of a devata, the devata is not there, and we're calling the devata, and we're praying to the devata to accept worship through that medium. We don't exactly in Sri Vaishnavism and Panchara, we don't exactly accept that the Devata is there in his Swarupa, but maybe the Devata is able to pervade that part or that bimba by his jnana. Okay, that's a whole philosophical discussion which we don't need to get into right now. But the point, so for most people's understanding, the Devata is there. In any case, we're worshiping the Devata through that. For Vaishnavas, basically, we're worshiping Vishnu in any case. We're worshiping Krishna, and even if we're thinking that we're worshiping a Devata, Krishna's the one who's going to take the offering to the Devata anyway. The Devata has no power by himself without Krishna, so we don't really worry about it. But just for we go through the motions, like when we do Punya Vachanam, of calling Varuna, but the Varuna that we call is actually a form of Vishnu. In Vasudeva Punya Vachanam, it's Pundarikaksha Varuna. Did you know that? Okay, all right. It's just a detail. It's just a detail. We use the same mantra as if we would call the demigod Varuna. We call him Pundarikaksha Varuna. Okay, so.
But you meant in Punya Vachanam, right? Not Vasudeva Punya Vachanam.
Right? I meant in Vasudeva Punya Vachanam, we're calling Pundarikaksha Varuna.
Oh, okay. I thought that Vasudeva Punya Vachanam meant worshiping Sudarshan Chakra.
Yeah, you can do that also.
Oh, okay.
Sudarshana.
Okay.
It depends on the prayoga exactly.
Yeah.
But see, when we do Vasudeva Punya Vachanam, there's a whole lot of mantras to chant, but we also chant this Imam Me Varanachari Hava Madhya Trimidya Tvamasya Artike. But as I said, that's a Vedic mantra, but the Vedic mantras are prayers to the Supreme. They're prayers to the Supreme Lord. So when we chant, you can chant Imam Me Varuna Shriti Hova Madhya Trimidya, and you can think of Varuna, the Devata, or you can chant Imam Me Varuna, and you can think of the Supreme Lord, Pundarikaksha, right? So as I said, Apavitra Pavitra Vasavavashtam Katobhiva Yasmaret Pundarikaksha. When you think of Pundarikaksha, you're purified within and without, right? Anyway, most people just think, okay, it's a prayer to Varuna. So in the Vedic samskaras, where if we do Punya Vachanam in a Vedic way, we're thinking of Varuna. If we do it in a Pancharatric way, we're thinking of Sudarshana, we're thinking of Pundarikaksha Varuna. Different. Not quite exactly the same. Okay, so now the Kusandika is a few other things involved in the Kusandika we didn't go over. So we can go over Kusandika sometime according to Sakriyasara, or we can also do it according to other ways. This is supposed to be a Vedic Kusandika or Agnimukam. There's also a Tantric Agnimukam. And as I said, probably not for beginners, not necessary to get too detailed into it, but we have to establish the sacred fire. And then, so we were up to Udicha Karma, and after Udicha Karma, there's Prayaschitta Homa and Udicha Karma, and after Prayaschitta Karma, there's what are we calling it? The Vaisnava Homa. That's nice. After Vaisnava Homa, then we finish with the Purnahuti somewhere. At the end, we have a Purnahuti. Let's see. Oh, this is where are we? I don't know even where we are anymore. It's hard to find your way around this book. Yeah. Here we go. Udicha Karma. Uttara Ojana. Udicha Karma. Here we go. Okay. Udicha Karma, Satyayana Homa, then Prayaschitta Homa, then Vaishnava Homa. So we were going through Vaishnava Homa, and we got down to down to here. Then we have a big, so we're talking about Guru, Chaitya Guru, all the Mahants, and then one big long one for Radhika, for Radharani, right? I think this is a mistake here. Should be not this S shouldn't be here. Varsha Bhanavi, not Varsha Spanavi. Varsha Bhanavi Gandhavike Kartika Devi Sri Krishna Priye Sarveshwari Klim Sri Vrindavana Sevadaka Prade Sevadikara Prade Shrim Hrim Tubhyam Sri Radhikaye Swaha Idam Radhikaye Idam Namama. Big long, and then we have another longer one for Krishna using this Krishna Vaisa Chidananda Ganaha Krishna Adi Krishna Krishna Purushottamaha Krishna Hau Kamadi Mulam Krishna Sahat Sarve Kariyaha Krishna Karsam Kridavisham Prabhu Pujaha Krishna Anadistasmila Jandantara Bahye Yan Mangalam Talabate Kiti Klim Krishnaya Swaha. Yep. Then we have some other gopis. This looks like gopis, female, gopis. 12 females. Female endings here. You get manjaris. Here we go. So remember we had Shakebhyaha up the top. We have now Sakibhyaha. Right? Female friends. And we have Sacharibhyaha. Again, female friends. That's what I was thinking of when we were up at the other part. So all of them are mentioned. Sarva Sanginibhyaha, Sarva Ranginibhyaha. And these are all different types of associates of Lord Krishna. Nice. Okay. Then we have Sarva Karshnebhyaha, Sarva Vaishnavebhyaha. Yeah? Sarva Vaishnavebhyaha. By the way, Sarva Vaishnavebhyaha, although, because it's plural, it means the Vaishnavas, to the Vaishnavas. It can mean masculine and feminine Vaishnavas. Just that one word, Vaishnavebhyaha. If you, in Sanskrit, normally what you do is if you want to include a group of people, a group of mixed people, mixed gender people, right? You just say the plural of the masculine. You just say they masculine, right? And that includes if there were ladies there, that includes them. But here, what they've done is they've specifically given a mantra for the masculine Vaishnavas and given another mantra here for the feminine Vaishnavas, the Vaishnavis. I just noticed that. Sarve Vaishnavebhyaha and Vaishnavibhyaha. Well, I just wanted to point this out. I noticed it before, but I just wanted to point it out. Interesting. Anyway, and so then we have different forms of God, Narayana, Karanadakshayi, here we have Narayana and then the three Purusha avatars and Vrindavan. So Vaikuntha Dham, and then we have the Chaturvyuha, Vasudeva Sankarshana Pradyumna Niruddha. Then we have Goloka Dham, Mathura Dham, we have Dwarka Dham, and we have the Das avatars, the Gaudiya version of the Das avatars, right? Matsya Koma Varaha Narasimha Vamana Sankarshana Rama, Raghunatha Rama, Jamadagni Rama. You want to know something? I think, in my opinion, this is in the wrong order. Should we not have Jamadagni Rama before Sankarshana Rama? Sankarshana Rama means Balarama. Jamadagni Rama means Parashurama. Raghunatha Rama is Ramachandra, Dasarathi Rama. Yeah? Because it seems like the rest of them are in order, right? Right? Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, Vamana. This will be, I'm just going to pause the recording. I'm going to.
No, actually, you didn't have recording. You just started recording again.
Didn't I? Oh,
Yeah, yeah, you're recording now, which
okay.
means that before you had stopped recording.
Okay, so now we're looking. Okay, so now we're recording again. Unfortunately, whatever we didn't say while we didn't record. Okay, we didn't record some things. So we're going back to Prayasthita and we're looking at Prayasthita and we're going to look up the mantras in Prayasthita in the Taitira Aranyaka or Mahanarayana Upanishad. So we're just going to pause again.
Wanted to see if I could see it in its original form to use it, because I like to use this when I'm doing ceremonies.
Okay, I have, I'm pretty sure I have we have Mahanarayana Upanishad audio and Taitira Aranyaka audio. I can give you the audio of the original, but it won't be Pahino Achyuta Enase Swaha. It'll be Pahino Agnaya Enase Swaha.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I want to do it the way it's supposed to be.
The way it's supposed to be in Satkriya Sarthapika is that way.
Is this way? That's a good point.
But the way it is in the way it is in the Gobila Griya Sutra, the way it is in the Taitira Aranyaka is not going to be that way.
Yeah. I'd love to have that audio. If
sure.
You could share that.
Sure. You know what? I suggest to everybody that everybody get audio of. It's a great idea to learn. It's a great idea to learn Mahanarayana Upanishad because it's called Yajnika Upanishad because there are so many mantras in it that are used in yajnas and used in rituals.
Oh.
It has all the mantras for Sandhya Vandanam. It has,
Yeah.
If you learn that.
Yeah. I would love to have that.
Okay. Can do. No problem.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Maybe we should finish here because it's getting really late here.
Oh yeah. Oof, look at that. It's really late.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll work on a very simplified way of doing. Now that we know something about a very complex method of doing samskaras, we'll work on a real simple way of doing it. And then you can add stuff as you learn it. You can add things and things, up to your time limit, up to your knowledge limit. You can do things. Yeah. Good idea.
All right.
Yes, very good.
All right. Okay, so we'll work on that. All right.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.